And of course, as always, we start off with the COVID-19 situation here in Korea. We may see the Omicron wave last longer, with more people being infected with something called the stealth Omicron.
For more, we turn to Shin Ye-eun, who's joining us here in the studio. Good morning, Yeun.
Good morning.
So what are we expecting for today?
Well, Mokyeon, we're expecting to see the daily tally hover in the 300,000s because up to 9 p.m. on Sunday, we've already recorded 329,105 infections. Now, this was up by 125,051 from the same time the day before, which was a Monday. And on Mondays, we usually see figures come down a bit because fewer tests are done over the weekend. Also because nowadays, more people visit local clinics to do rapid antigen tests, but most hospitals don't operate on the weekend. Another interpretation we had on Monday's figures was that we are steadily coming out from the peak of Omicron. With COVID-19 figures coming back up to the 300,000s, we'll have to see what authorities and health experts have to forecast as to when Omicron has peaked and when we will be out of this wave.
So, there's been a lot of question as to when we're finally going to see this Omicron wave end. A question I have actually almost on a daily basis right now. But it does seem like, at least according to some of the opinions from the authorities, that we might be seeing this wave last a bit longer because of something called the stealth Omicron. Is that from what I understand?
That's right, Seung-jae. While many health experts have been forecasting that the country will pass the peak of Omicron by next week, officials have said that the appearance of stealth Omicron could prolong this wave. And this is mainly because we've been seeing countries once hit with Omicron, like the US or UK, see another surge in infections due to the subvariant. Take a listen to what the KDCA chief had to say during Monday's briefing.
Stealth Omicron is known to be 30% more contagious than the original Omicron strain. It's also responsible for around 60% or even more COVID cases worldwide. Though this subvariant won't lead to a new wave of the pandemic, we do think it could prolong the current one we're in. So we will keep a close eye on its spread.
Also known as BA2, stealth Omicron is reportedly much more contagious than the original strain and has already taken up more than 41% of all locally transmitted cases. It also took up nearly 57% of all imported cases in the country as well, but there's no scientific evidence to suggest the subvariant is any more dangerous than Omicron. And the most common symptoms of stealth Omicron are dizziness and fatigue, which usually appear 2 to 3 days after one is infected. As its name suggests, stealth Omicron has been difficult to detect with the PCR test kits widely used abroad, but South Korea has been using its homegrown PCR test kit that can detect all variants from Alpha to Delta and even all strains of Omicron.
But yeah, on Monday, I remember we saw the highest number of deaths for a single day. So how are authorities evaluating the level of risk of the pandemic, and did they introduce some measures?
Well, for 3 weeks straight, authorities have evaluated the risk of the pandemic to be at the highest level. And this comes as we're seeing roughly 7 out of 10 ICU beds occupied, a spike in the number of critically ill patients and deaths. In just a week, we've seen the number of critically ill patients go up by roughly 12%. The number of deaths in a week also went up by a whopping 45%. And to bring these numbers down, authorities have decided to secure more antiviral pills that are used to treat high-risk groups. As of now, only seniors aged 60 and up, the immunocompromised, and those aged 40 and over with underlying conditions like diabetes or cardiovascular disease are eligible for Paxlovid. And this is the only antiviral pill that has received the green light from Korea's drug regulator so far. But roughly half of all Paxlovid stocks have been used up so far. That's why the government is planning to take delivery of some 100,000 courses of Lagevrio this week. Lagevrio, also known as molnupiravir, is an oral COVID-19 pill manufactured by Merck. Now, though the government has already secured deals to receive some 242,000 courses of Lagevrio, the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety has not approved its usage yet, citing its low efficacy. While Paxlovid was found to prevent deaths and hospitalizations by 90%, Lagevrio only reduced fatal illnesses by 30%. Despite this, authorities have determined an alternative pill is needed to treat high-risk patients who cannot be prescribed with Paxlovid limited, mainly because it cannot be taken with many other drugs. Now, the country's drug regulator will make their final decision as to whether they will grant emergency use for Lagevrio by Thursday at the latest.
I mean, definitely the high daily toll is concerning, but also the death toll. And hopefully with the introduction of these drugs, the death toll also dips down significantly as well. Yeon, as always, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you so much.